The Pope's Final Message, Volume 3, Restoration and Resurrection, by P.J. Gott and Logan Light. Chapter 1, The Threat in Rome, May 3rd, 2025, Santa Fe, New Mexico. Kitchen War Room. Pamela, Leah, and Joe sat around the kitchen table, cell phones lined up like weapons, a printed list of rental agencies spread between them. 25 names stared back, every car rental outfit in Albuquerque. Pamela rubbed her temple. That's a lot of calls, 8 each, and one of us takes 9. She rose, gathering the sheet. I'll make 2 more copies so we can each have one. Joe cracked his knuckles, forcing a smile. Easy enough. I'll take the extra. He sipped his coffee, eyes drifting to the 2 dog bowls by the fridge. Pamela returned and placed a copy in front of Leah. You take the first 8, I'll take the second, and Joe the last 9. Leah adjusted her glasses, circled the top name, Avis. If we cast wide enough, we'll find something. First hour was nothing but clicks, holds, and polite refusals. Pamela scribbled notes with a heavier and heavier hand. No match, no SUV listed, needs reservation code. Her voice grew clipped. No, she said, straining for calm. I'm not asking for customer information, just whether a black SUV was returned with dogs. Yes, small ones. No? She closed her eyes, inhaled sharply, and ended the call. Nothing. Across from her, Joe frowned. Nothing here either. No incident, no note. He slammed his palm flat against the table when the line went dead. Useless. Leah, on her 3rd call, covered the mouthpiece, mouthed, same here, and marked a thin dash in her notebook. By noon, the weight of failure turned to fatigue. Pamela massaged the bridge of her nose. Leah's handwriting turned jagged. Joe's pen tapped a restless rhythm on the wood. By late afternoon, they'd crossed out nearly every name. Sixt, Hertz, Dollar, the neighborhood branches they'd scrapped from search results. Each answer the same. No information, no leads. Then Joe leaned forward, knuckles whitening around his phone. Hold on, you've got a black SUV checked out since April 29th? Still out? Who rented it? His voice brightened with a flicker of hope. Guy's checking to see if he's allowed to give out the renter's name. Pamela's eyes snapped open. Put it on speaker. The phone sat in the center of the table, tinny hold music filling the room. Minutes crawled. Leah muttered, What's taking so long? Finally, the clerk returned, voice hesitant. You still there? Yes, Joe said. I've got you on speaker with my wife and our friend. Well, the clerk said at last, his voice careful. That's what took so long. I'm afraid I have bad news. The SUV was wrecked just over the Colorado line, head on with an 18-wheeler. The truck driver's okay, but the couple in the SUV were killed. Leah gasped. Oh, my God. Pamela leaned forward, her voice cracking. Were there dogs with them? A small Yorkie was found nearby, shaken but alive. Pamela's hands clenched the edge of the table. What about a dachshund? Or cream-colored Shih Tzu mix? Just the Yorkie, he said slowly. It must have been thrown clear before the car caught fire. Joe's jaw tightened. Did they find the remains of any other dogs? Not that we know of. They recovered the man and the woman, but no mention of animals. If the dogs were small, well, sometimes that isn't noted. Pamela's eyes brimmed and she bowed her head, sobs spilling softly into her hands. Leah slipped an arm around her shoulders, but her own tears began to fall. Joe's voice was steady but low. Where's the SUV now? Hold on. They waited in brittle silence. The hum of the refrigerator seemed louder, insistent. Finally, the clerk returned. It was hauled to a salvage yard outside Albuquerque. Can you give me the address? Joe asked. Another pause. Then he read it slowly. Joe scribbled the details with a stiff hand. When the line finally went dead, the kitchen collapsed into silence. No phones, no pens, no tapping. Pamela's phone slipped from her hand to the floor with a dull clatter. Leah shut her notebook with trembling fingers. Joe stared across the room at the bowls by the fridge, waiting for Lucas and Peanut to come trotting in. Vatican City, May 3rd, 2025, late evening. Rain streaked the tall windows of a dim chamber deep within the apostolic palace. 3 cardinals sat at a round mahogany table, their crimson robes pooled like shadows in the lamplight. Cardinal Mancini lowered his phone slowly, expression carved from stone. Our man in Albuquerque confirms it. Head-on collision. SUV destroyed. The couple, Karen and Don, dead. Bellini's fingers tightened around his rosary, beads clicking in the silence. And the dogs? Mancini shook his head. A Yorkie was pulled from the wreck. The others? Gone. Consumed by fire. A heavy pause settled, broken only by the drip of rain on the sill. Lucian exhaled, sharp and weary. Then our leverage is gone. Without the animals, we cannot hold the women in check. Their fear was tied to those creatures. Bellini frowned. We still have the women themselves, and we still have the codex. But do we? Lucian countered. His eyes burned with unease. We never held the original. We only forced a translation into the open. If they still possess the true text, if even one copy remains, our position is compromised. Mancini's jaw clenched. He spoke slowly, measuring each word. What now? Violence failed. Fear failed. Even Providence seems against us. He looked up at the painted saints watching from the walls, their halos faint in the gloom. But we cannot let this heresy spread. Bellini's rosary stilled in his hand. Then we change the game. If we cannot silence them through loss, we silence them through reputation. We turn the world against them. Lucian nodded grimly. Defame them. Discredit them. Make their book appear fraudulent before it ever sees the light of day. The three exchanged a long, cold glance. The storm outside rattled the glass like a warning, but their decision was already forming. Mancini folded his hands. Then it is settled. The Codex will never breathe freely, not while we still draw breath. May 6th, Albuquerque, Pampered Pet Kennel. The kennel smelled of dust, disinfectant, and old cedar shavings. Fluorescent light buzzed overhead, dimming and brightening as if tired of its own duty. In the back row, 2 small dogs pressed close together in a metal run. Lucas lay with his chin on his paws, eyes fixed on the door. Peanut paced restlessly, pausing every few steps to whine and nose the chain-link wall. Both ignored the bowls of food set neatly in the corner. At the counter, 2 attendants compared notes. They haven't touched breakfast again, said Marcy, tucking a strand of gray hair under her cap. Poor little guys just sit there, waiting, like they think somebody's going to walk through that door any minute. Her colleague Daniel leaned against a clipboard rack. It's the way they look at you, dejected, like they're missing their parents. He frowned, glancing back toward the run. They were supposed to be picked up yesterday, right? Yeah, paperwork said May 5th. Marcy tapped the folder. But nobody showed. Phone number doesn't work either. Disconnected. Daniel sighed. So what, somebody just dumped them here? Paid for 3 days and walked away? Seems like it, Marcy muttered. It's a hell of a way to get rid of 2 dogs. After a pause, Marcy picked up the office phone. I'll call our boss and see what she wants us to do. The line rang, then clicked. A woman's voice answered. Marcy explained the situation. The reply was matter-of-fact, almost dismissive. Wait a week after that, call the no-kill shelter. They'll find them homes. When she hung up, Marcy's shoulders slumped. We're supposed to hold them till next week, then turn them over. Daniel glanced again toward the run where Peanut had curled up beside Lucas at last, both staring out through the chain link, ears pricked at every sound of footsteps in the hall. They're still waiting for somebody who's not coming, he said quietly. Neither of them spoke again. The kennel buzzed with a fluorescent hum, and the 2 small dogs lay pressed together, frightened and alone.